I realized we were muted during those claps. So let's run them.
Let's do it again.
All right.
Very nice.
All right.
Here we go.
So the Eagles lost to the Commies. Carson Wentz is seemingly out of a job.
Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Wentz probably was watching that game thinking, we need to blow this.
Yeah, I assume so.
Because he now is Taylor Heineke's backup. So Carson Wentz, what a meteoric fall from fame.
Was he really that high?
I mean,
He almost won. He
almost won MVP.
Yeah, but then he got hurt, and then he just hasn't been good since.
Right.
That was like 7 years ago.
The hype around this time last year was there for Carson Wentz and the Colts.
Yeah, shouldn't have been. There wasn't any hype this year, so like this isn't like that crazy to me. Like, I don't know. It feels like this is probably where he should be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
he does belong on.
He's definitely lost his job.
Yeah.
The favorites went 6-8, another losing week for the favorites. And the home teams went 8-6. But the public finally had a winning week at 2-1. The Eagles screwed us. The Niners screwed us, even though the Niners literally, dominated the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monday Night Football, obviously, that was brutal. Sunday Night Football, that was the Niners game. And then the Eagles, losing their undefeated season. So no undefeated teams left in the NFL. The 1976 Dolphins, is it?
72.
72
They
Dolphins.
popped their champagne bottle yet
The
again.
They could party.
1972 Dolphins take a sigh of relief as they remain the only undefeated team in NFL history. We have a hungry dog over here for our parlays. So
He's trying to eat some trash.
he's trying to eat some trash.
Yeah.
So moving on to this week, we got the best straight bets and parlays last week. The two primetime games really killed the week. 3-1 going into Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Was feeling great about it, but we're going to rebound this week. Thursday Night Football to start. We got Packers -2.5 at home against the Titans. The Packers were obviously mediocre throughout the first part of the season. But they seem to have found something in Christian Watson, and he's opened up the offense. The deep game is finally there. 3 touchdowns last week, and we fade the public.
Yeah.
And they're finally giving it to Aaron Jones, it feels like. So opening up the offense just even more in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that their breakout game would come against the Cowboys. Though.
Yeah.
Of all teams, it's so random.
Really
We
good
were
defense.
talking earlier this season about how Aaron Rodgers performs as an underdog, and the Packers had just been bad. And so they were an underdog at home, and, they showed everyone why they're rarely an underdog at Lambeau.
Yeah.
And they're home again against the Titans for this game.
I do. I mean, I like this bet, honestly. And like you said, I think the Packers passing offense really found something, which is nice for them because now they're going against a pretty bad passing defense.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do think Derrick Henry's the best player in the NFL, but Packers -2.5 is the play for Thursday Night Football.
I agree.
Moving to Sunday. First game we got might be a little bit of a shocker. Texans +3.5 at home against the Commanders. I just really think this is a letdown spot for the Commanders after the biggest win of their season. They spoiled the Eagles' undefeated year. Huge division win last week. The Texans are the worst team in the NFL. So I just think the Commanders have a chance to put up a letdown spot in this one.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's really why I like him. Damian Pierce is valid. There's not too much positive I could say about the Texans other than Damian.
I mean, they
Picked
keep
up-
games close.
Picked
Yeah.
up, Benjamin as well off waivers. That was a good pickup.
That might
solidify
hurt
the
Pierce's
backfield.
fantasy value a little bit.
But it definitely solidifies the backfield there.
Yeah.
Why did the Cardinals even cut him?
Their owner's really an interesting guy. Let's just say
What does that mean?
He just does really random things.
Their owner?
Is he the GM
Yeah.
too?
Stephen Keim, I believe.
I don't think he owns the team.
Well, I don't know. He might be
Like you're saying the GM?
Yeah.
Okay.
The GM.
Yeah.
He just makes terrible decisions.
Yeah. No, that's valid.
So moving from Texans Commanders, we actually got our first hammer play of today.
So let's go.
The hammer play, Giants -2.5 against the Lions. The Lions have won their past 2 games, but it was because of brutal turnovers from their opponent late game. The Giants are 6th in the NFL in turnover differential, so I really expect a clean game on that front. And the Giants are just the better team here and should easily win this game by a field goal at home.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly love this pick. The only issue I have is that it feels like such a trap. How are they only favored by 3?
Well, it's because the Lions have won their last 2 games on the road.
Yeah, but against like not that good
Against
of a team.
bad teams,
And I think
against
the
bad
Giants
teams.
have kind of been slacking lately, even though they haven't exactly been losing.
Aren't they 7-2?
7
Yeah, I wanna say they're
7-3,
7-2.
yeah, something like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they're not exactly a slouch, but
And the Lions are what, 3-6, 3-5?
Yeah, it's the 7-2 Giants against the 3-6 Detroit Lions, or the 7-2 Giants. Yeah,
I mean, it just feels weird to me that the Giants are only favored by 2.5 at home.
I agree.
It makes no sense.
I think it's just going to be a time of possession game
I guess.
for the Giants because, like, Detroit does have a good offense, but the Giants don't have a bad defense.
Oh no. And I mean, Detroit has a good offense. I wouldn't say they're like setting the world on fire though.
No.
They were good at the start of the year.
Right.
And
And
they've
then
been tailed
Amon-Ra and
off a good
Swift
amount.
got hurt, and they've kind of been dealing with injuries since then.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Swift. They have weird utilization of that guy.
yeah, they do. They do not use him enough, and I don't know if it's because he's hurt or they just don't like him.
Probably both.
Probably
I
both.
don't know.
So from hammer play to scary selection.
Wow.
We got the Jets at +3.5 in Foxborough against the Patriots. The Jets lost 24-19 to the Patriots a few weeks ago, and Zach Wilson looked like a high school quarterback out there. Threw 3 interceptions, and I really just don't see him performing nearly that terribly, especially coming off the bye for the Jets.
Yeah.
So it is a scary selection because they lost by 5 at home, but I really don't think they're capable of playing that poorly again, even if they tried.
Yeah, and it's just so hard to beat a team twice.
It really is.
Like, I think it's like really as simple as that. Like
Absolutely.
the Jets are arguably better than the Patriots, and it's going to be really hard for the Patriots to beat a team that's arguably better than them 2 times in a season.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
And,
the Patriots have won the last 13 games between the Jets and
Yeah,
the
but this is the
Patriots.
first time since the last time they played where the Jets have been the better team in that stretch.
Yeah.
Like the Patriots are better every single year.
That's true.
And the Jets are kind of like the Giants in a sense. They just keep putting wins together, and the record shows that they're a really good team.
I don't know about really good, but they're like
Right,
good.
like they're a
So
competitive
solid.
team.
Yeah.
Like the Bills are 3rd in the
Yeah.
AFC East behind the Dolphins and the Jets, which coming into the season,
Who would have thought?
no one would have predicted
No,
that.
that's crazy.
You know, maybe you could have made an argument for the Dolphins, but no one thought the Jets were going to be, you know, 2nd in the division going into week 11.
Especially with like Zach Wilson like still being a major
Mediocre,
weakness on the team.
Yeah. I think they're likely going to look to replace him because
You think so?
Yeah, because I
It's hard to
don't
move
think
on. How do you move on from a 2nd overall pick
I
like that?
really
Just
don't
the same thing
think,
they did with Darnold.
right.
Yeah, and like that screwed them.
I don't know, right? But it's because they went with a guy who went to BYU, and you know,
No, I mean that's
like, this
fair.
is an incredible quarterback class coming out.
incredible.
Yeah,
What's so incredible about that?
you know, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young are both elite. There are some other good talents in Drake May, Will Levis. Like,
Is Drake maybe leaving?
I don't know if he's
I don't think he's eligible.
yet. I'm not sure though.
well, regardless,
I think
Stroud,
you're jumping the gun.
Bryce Young. There are good quarterbacks in the draft.
Yeah.
Better than Zach Wilson. Like, I would say that Stroud is better than Zach Wilson.
How many of his mom's friends has CJ Stroud been?
I mean, that is fair.
That's a
I mean,
great
Zach
question.
Wilson is a Cougar.
Cougar Hunter.
Well, he went to BYU too.
Oh yeah. Wait, what's their mascot?
Cougars.
BYU
It
Cougar.
was
BYU
always
Cougars.
meant to be.
Real Cougar.
He is
Yeah,
he
that
is
was
a Cougar.
obvious.
He is a Cougar, and he is into Cougars.
Yeah.
So we should have seen that coming.
Yeah, but basically all I'm trying to say is that the Jets are good and they've only been good since that story about Zach Wilson came out.
Yeah, that's fair. So
It's causation, not
last
correlation.
Sunday day game we have Steelers +5.5 at home against the Bengals. The Bengals are coming off the bye, the last time we saw them, it was the Joe Mixon show. And the reason I have the Steelers in this game is because they're just a different team with TJ Watt.
Yeah.
And they're also a different team at home. So the combination of the two, like, I like the Steelers to keep this game within 5 points. I could see the Bengals winning, 21-17. I don't see the Bengals putting up that many points in this football game,
especially on the road.
Right. It's Pittsburgh's a hard place to play in.
What's it called now? I really wanted to say Heinz Field, but it's not that.
It's not Heinz
Some
Field.
sort of like insurance company. I want to say.
That's awesome. That's great.
What a shame. So I don't know if the Bengals offensive line, I don't know if those issues have been solved. And I think the Steelers should be able to make Burrow uncomfortable enough to keep the game close.
Yeah, I mean, with Watt, it's crazy because, like, he's either amazing in disrupting the game and probably, like, the most impactful player out there,
Right.
or he's just getting double teamed. So the rest of the players, it's like their lives are so easy.
Right.
Like, last week, he didn't even have that good of stats.
He's just so impactful out there.
But, like, their defense literally looked like a completely
So
different
it's
unit.
Acrisure Stadium.
Acrisure Stadium.
What is that?
It's like an insurance company. Or
That's such a interesting.
Heinz Field.
Heinz Field.
something.
Yeah.
Heinz Field.
It's Heinz Field.
Yeah.
So then
Good luck
next
winning at
pick, we
Heinz.
got Sunday Night Football, Chiefs and Chargers division matchup. We have the Chiefs at -6.5 in LA with 47% of the public. We're going to keep fading. The Chiefs look elite with, Mahomes and all of his weapons out there. Like Tyreek Hill's an afterthought almost in Kansas City.
I'm sure they would appreciate having Tyreek.
Yeah, but it's like they're
fine.
They're not missing him.
Yeah, they're more than fine.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
I mean, Kadarius Toney.
I
Talk
just-
about a new toy.
I don't think the Chargers defense can keep up with.
I don't think they're good.
Yeah, I don't think they can keep up with Mahomes and Kelsey and all the Chiefs receivers. Juju might be out. He's still in concussion protocol.
I think he's probably going to be out after what we
It looked
saw.
like a pretty bad concussion.
Right. So, I mean, we're fading the public. Chiefs by a touchdown.
No.
Yeah.
I like the Chiefs a lot. And, like, the Chargers really did not show me, like, anything on Sunday Night Football.
No.
Like
the 49ers dominated that game even though they didn't cover.
Yeah, like, the only reason that they didn't blow them out is because Jimmy G is so mid.
Yeah.
Like, so
the 49ers, how many Super Bowls would they have won if
Mahomes
Tom
was their
Brady
quarterback.
Tom Brady went there instead of Tampa?
2 or 3.
Well, they chose Jimmy G over Tom Brady.
I know.
So that's their fucking fault.
But how many would they have? You think it's 2 or 3? I kind of agree.
It would be 3 years. I think
They were the 49ers last year made it to the NFC Championship with Jimmy G.
I know, and they went to the Super Bowl the year before that.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably 1 or 2.
No, the Bucks won the Super Bowl the year before that. You're thinking of the year before
He wasn't
that.
there when they went to the Super Bowl. Like Tom Brady was in New England.
Right.
Yeah. No, that is fair.
Yeah.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't even matter. Yeah.
Right.
It would be very
the next
different.
2 seasons that they had Tom, like who knows? But they still
And
had
this
so
season they would have had
They
Tom.
just still had so many injuries over the past 2 years. Like who knows what would happen? Like you can never predict the future.
Yeah, but it is crazy. Like Shanahan, he gets his teams like every time he is
He gets his
behind.
guys.
I don't know what he does, but like he has made so many deep playoff runs already. Like people don't talk about how good Kyle Shanahan is.
He is a good coach, but he doesn't have a quarterback.
Well, he also can't win a Super Bowl. He's been a part of 2 historic collapses.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the Super Bowl. I don't know if the Niners loss was on him.
It was not great.
Yeah.
It wasn't on him, but like it doesn't help that like 2 times he's been in the Super Bowl and had a commanding lead and then thrown it away.
Yeah, that's true. So we're going to head over to Monday Night Football now.
Yeah.
This week we have the 49ers again and the Cardinals. It's a divisional matchup in Arizona. We have the Cardinals at +8.5. This early in the week, the line's so high because we don't know if Kyler is playing or not yet. But regardless, like Colt McCoy did not look like
He's better than Kyler.
I don't know if he's better than
a
Kyler,
good-
but the offense didn't look dysfunctional with Colt McCoy out there. And so I think they might just keep Kyler out another week because Colt McCoy can keep them in a game.
Colt McCoy is a good backup quarterback. Like he's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league.
I mean, basically every time he makes a spot start, he like auto wins that game. But then if he has to make another like 2 or 3 starts after that, then the wheels come off.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fair.
But yeah, I'm with you on this. The
Pretty
Cardinals
simple.
do suck.
We
though.
fade
Like,
the public,
Cliff
too.
is going to get fired soon.
Yeah, I
Really?
mean,
How
they
do you
beat the
not
Rams.
fire him? They beat Wolford. Like, who
Yeah, I mean,
cares?
yeah,
That was a nothing game.
Yeah, that was a nothing game.
quite literally.
So next up, we got the easy money lay. This week, it is the Ravens money line against the Panthers, the Bills money line against the Browns, and the Chiefs money line against the Chargers for a grand total of -158. You know, another loss last week in the easy money lay. Not good stats on the year for the easy money line. That's why they're not up here. Where is it?
Yeah, there it is.
There. That's why they're not up here.
We should maybe change the name, though. The not so easy lay.
It's
Not
the
so
it's the
easy.
losing money lay.
But it's still the same, picks. I mean,
Right.
it's like Big Cat with his can't lose parlay that I think he's won twice on the year.
Well, it's because the
It's
Eagles,
hard. Parlays are hard.
The Eagles lost last week.
That was bullshit.
All right, and if they won, we would have had our third consecutive easy money lay hit.
The Hungry Dogs lay was only off by one team as well.
I know.
Speaking of underdogs,
Speaking of the Hungry Dogs, why don't
oh,
we move into the Hungry
Oh.
Dogs parlay? Because Hungry Dogs do run
Yeah.
that.
Oh, they indeed run a lot.
they got
faster.
eight.
We got the Colts money line against the Eagles. We got the Texans money line against the Commanders, and we have the Rams money line against the Saints. All three of these teams underdogs plus 2101 here. I think the Eagles were not necessarily exposed, but the Commanders ran the ball like 35 times.
I mean, they did the same things that the Texans tried to do. The Texans just are horrible.
And the Commanders just had more guys to do it with.
Yeah, and
They
like
had
they
two
just-
guys they could use.
Yeah.
Instead of just Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, but like I do think that that's like not the craziest blueprint to beat the Eagles.
Right. You just have to run the ball a lot. And
Yeah.
as a Colts fan / John Taylor fantasy owner, like, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And I mean, we haven't even talked about it, but Saturday is the new Sunday in Indianapolis.
Saturday is the new Sunday.
He was awesome.
He really was.
I don't know what he did, but
there
it was awesome.
never a doubt in my mind that they were losing that game. In the first few weeks of the season, when the Colts got down, it was like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
It's over. The only comeback win we had was against the Jaguars, and they're the Jaguars,
Yeah.
and we had to come back against them to win, which was
Mhm.
brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, like I seriously think when I was watching that game, the team looked confident. We looked like an NFL football team with the offense.
They looked like the team last year.
Yeah, they were functional. And, they even looked a little better than the team last year. Like, how often last year did we throw a screen pass and get a first down? Because I saw Paris
I don't
Campbell
know.
do that like 3 times.
I don't know. No, I mean, we look good. Like the offensive skill position players look solid.
Yeah.
And the offensive line looked not atrocious.
I think when you got Saturday and he just is going to pound the offensive line to just.
Like, people are
Yeah,
definitely
like
going to play their hardest for
Yeah,
him.
absolutely.
I don't really understand, like, I'm trying to think the right way to phrase this. It looked like this guy, Frazier, was running Frank Reich's offense, but like Frank Reich, like if he wasn't an idiot. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like the plays that we were doing, like I've seen all those plays before. Like we've
Right.
run them before. They were just like being run in like a better,
A lot of setup.
yeah, like they were
A lot of
actually being
stuff.
run in a good order. Or
I
like
think
there was a
every
good
single
rhythm.
play action pass should be removed from our playbook.
Why?
If Matt Ryan's the quarterback, he is not fast enough to
Roll out.
outrun or roll out like one player.
I know, but play action is so effective in the NFL. Like it just
I
freezes the
know,
defense.
but it's like if we're gonna do it from the shotgun.
Oh, yeah.
Like call it an RPO or
Yeah, no,
play
and
action
we're
from
good
the
at
shotgun.
those plays. We run
But
those
having
RPOs.
Matt Ryan drop back, he
I
is
know what
so
play you're talking
slow.
about. It's horrible.
He is so slow that it's
embarrassing.
the play doesn't even have a chance. All right, let's get back on pace here. Moving into some same game parlays. These actually did really well last week. 3-0 last week, 26-18 on the season. The first same game parlay we have is going to be Bills money line against the Browns and the under 40.5 in this game at plus 147. This is the first plus odds same game parlay I've taken this year.
Mm-hmm.
This game's being played in the snow.
Yeah.
It's going to be below freezing.
Wow.
It's going to be awful
cold,
conditions.
tundra,
Yep.
Buffalo,
And I
wings,
think
football.
the Browns game script is clearly time of possession and run the ball.
What makes you say that?
Nick Chubb.
So that is how you play in a game like this, and that's how they wanted to play anyway. So I kind of think the Browns not that they have an advantage, but they're going to be competitive in this game.
Yeah.
But I do like the Bills to win. I don't think that many points are going to be scored. I think we're looking at like 17-14.
Yeah, which is what happens when you have these sort of conditions. I'm
Right.
with you.
So I mean, we'll see if, depending on how hard the snow is, I might bet on there to be no touchdowns.
Oh wow.
Because we've seen games like this before with Buffalo.
I mean, I feel like in that situation, it's more likely that they're going to try to score a touchdown than get a field goal. They won't be able to kick a field goal in those conditions.
Well, remember the Patriots-Bills game from last year?
It was last year.
Like if the
I thought the
conditions
Patriots scored some touchdowns.
Josh
I
Allen.
thought it was a field goal game.
I don't remember.
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
The Patriots scored like 1 or 2 touchdowns, I want to say.
I'm not sure. Jimmy's saying there was a couple of touchdowns for the Patriots.
I think the Bills might have had 1 as well, but I think the Patriots had 2.
All right, Patriots-Bills snow game.
Okay.
That's the playoff.
This is
game.
not the snow game.
That's the playoff game in the snow.
Oh wow, there was a second snow game.
Snow
Multiple
game too.
snow games.
Snow game too. All right, we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
The next same game parlay, we've got the Giants plus 6.5 against the Lions over 40.5. We have the Giants to cover at minus 2.5. So why not sprinkle that plus 6.5? As far as the over 40.5, as we mentioned, we like both of these offenses. It's really not asking it to be that high scoring of a game to hit 41 points.
I think that's pretty easy. The only issue is just the Giants kind of play these like grinded out games, but the Lions play like the opposite. Like they play like these crazy, wild back and forth affairs. So I think, 40.5 is a pretty low number. I think we can see them get over that. Yeah.
And then the last same game parlay we've got this week is Chiefs money line, and then the over 44.5. We like the Chiefs in prime time, so might as well. We have them minus 6.5. Might as well take them to win, and then kind of same situation with this Giants Lions game. Like it's Chiefs Chargers. It's going to be a pretty high scoring game.
And they always play these crazy, wacky games.
Yeah, 45 points. We're looking for like a 27-20 final score here.
That gets it done. I think it'll be something like that.
So, I might bet on an exact final score. I bet on. Do you remember the Bucks-Rams game a few weeks ago?
Yes.
So I bet on the exact final score of that game to be 2017. And it obviously didn't hit. But the reason I bet that is because there were 3 other 2017 finishes that morning.
Okay.
So I was like, screw it.
Something's going on.
2017. And they were both 4 points off. So the final score was, I want to say,
13-10 or something.
No, it was like 6. It was a weird score. It was like 16-13 or something like that. Yeah, but that's the only time I bet an exact score. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it was 16-13 in that game. And I bet on the final score to be 2017.
Electric.
So they basically, I needed each team to score a touchdown, and they settled one time.
Yeah.
But assholes.
Interesting.
So player props now.
Okay.
Best player props for this week.
We're at exactly 500
Kind of a pooper last week after a hot week before it.
Yeah, there was some things happened. Some injuries.
Shit happens.
Yeah, some weather.
So
a lot of stuff happened. It's hard to explain.
We're going to start off with the passing yards, and you actually have to start off the first hammer play of the day for the player prop. Aaron Rodgers is back, over 237.5 passing yards is the hammer play of the day. Talk to us.
Yeah, he bounced back last week, looked pretty solid, but they were still running the ball a lot. I think the offense is getting clicking with this Watson kid and Lazard. They're not good, but they're not bad.
And it's a primetime game, so it's Thursday night.
Is it at home?
It is.
Oh, yes.
So-
Like we talked about that. Yeah, like Rodgers, he lives for these moments. He wants to be out there doing this. The belt
So I might
thing.
even
He
say
wants to be
that-
looking surly.
And then he gets the mini bye.
I
Yeah.
might even add this to the Packers same game parlay.
Wow. There's another. I also have preview a Lazard receiving prop as well.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
big time. So we're high on the Packers this week, if you couldn't
so
tell.
that's definitely going to implode in our faces for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a lock.
Next quarterback on the docket, Daniel Dimes.
Oh wow, Daniel.
Daniel Dimes.
Yeah. So the thing about Daniel Dimes is that he's playing the Lions, who are bad. And last week we bet on Justin Fields against the Lions to get it done, and he delivered for us.
Yeah,
And
number 6 rusher in the NFL.
yeah, but he actually delivered passing,
I know,
which is the surprising part.
Yeah,
You don't really expect
he
to see
is a
that.
beast now.
He had a couple of big plays. Yeah, I mean that's what he does. Big
But I
plays,
think
stays
if there, I wish
consistent.
there was a bet over under Daniel Jones a half trips over his own feet, because he does that every
He
single
loves to
week.
do that. Yeah. But last week they gave the ball to Saquon 36 times. I don't think they're going to do that again.
Why?
Actually, they
Just
might,
not
honestly,
enough
because I don't think they're going to re-sign him.
I
Because they
want-
paused their contract talks. It's like, I actually kind of think they're just like, let's just go ahead and run him into the ground. Jeez. Like, it's not that crazy to say.
I agree, but I mean, the reason I said why is because like he's finally almost feels like he's back health.
Oh, yeah, he's
so
back.
it's like until he's not healthy again for some
Mhm.
reason, it almost feels like this is their offense
Well, he's going to be not healthy again for some reason because they're giving him the ball 36 times.
for some reason.
Yeah, but having said that, PFF has him at 241 yards. They like Daniel Dimes to, perform a little bit better than what the books are giving him credit for.
Right.
And I kind of agree. I think that their offense looks pretty solid. I think they're going to try to go to Daniel a little bit more this week instead of Saquon. And we're not asking for much here. 190 yards gets this done. That's not even a good
That's easy.
performance.
No, that's a
You
big
didn't do that on
performance at
accident.
best. Yeah. Right. Sam Ellinger had 200 yards.
Yeah, he's horrible.
Yeah, he is. Apparently.
So from one horrible quarterback to another.
Marcus
Marcus
Heisman
Mariota.
Mariota.
Yeah.
Heisman winner.
So this guy, he looked horrible last week.
Yeah, you really did.
He looked literally horrible.
Yeah.
The
But-
weather was bad. but
The weather, that's what I was saying. That's what I was talking about
The
with the
weather.
weather. The weather was ruining
The
everything.
weather.
The weather. So
What
he's
you gotta
playing
say
the
about the
Bears
weather?
defense. Here's what I know about the Bears defense.
Mid.
It's not mid. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's
It
literally
was mid,
horrible.
It was mid, and then
Yeah.
you traded away your best 2 defenders.
Yeah, so now it's horrible.
God off.
Like the last 2 weeks, the fact that they've somehow lost those games is a testament to how bad that defense is.
Yeah.
So
That was an
Mariota
awful loss
is going to
last
go
week.
over 160 and a half yards. That's all I'm going to say.
That's
I can
easy.
see that happening. Is it in Chicago or is it
In Chicago.
That's fine.
Atlanta?
I don't know.
I don't know what it is.
I'm going to wait for the ticker.
Pretty sure it's in Chicago.
I'm not sure.
So yeah, I mean the weather will be a little cold, but I still think he gets.
Nope, it's in Atlanta.
Oh, it's in Atlanta.
Yeah,
it's
it's
in
in
the dome.
Atlanta.
We're safe. We're
Yeah,
safe.
we're good.
We're safe from the weather. Oh, and PFF has him at 266 yards, which is 100 yards more than his over, which seems impossible. Like that is just I don't even know how they're getting that number,
Right.
but yeah, Mariota, bad defense, coming off a bad game, got to bounce back. Heisman winner,
Yeah.
playing in the dome. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and God, I almost forgot. He's also coming off a mini bye.
Oh,
Yeah.
the mini
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah.
We gotta get a mini buy graphic going.
Yeah.
at some point,
We gotta get
so
the
that we
mini buy
can,
graphic.
instead of just saying it, we can know if it's actually good or not.
Yeah.
'Cause it could be really bad.
Because how did the mini buy teams do last week?
I don't know.
Who are the mini buy teams?
It was
Those
the
are
Ravens,
Buccaneers,
and
Ravens.
the
They both
Bucks.
won, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah, they
Bucks
both
and
won.
the Ravens.
The Ravens
both
didn't
won.
play last week. And the Bucks
That's
won
the
in
extended super buy.
I might have to bet on the Ravens to win the Super Bowl.
Because the super buy,
Yeah, it's
the super
the
buy.
mini buy into the full buy. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I will say, actually, a fun bet that I saw was for the Ravens. I think their season total is like it's 11 and a half or something like that. but they're playing a bunch of shitters the rest of the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they might go undefeated the rest of the season.
Let's check out the Baltimore Ravens.
I was looking at it the other day. Really caught my eye.
So the Ravens have the Panthers this week. Shitter. They're minus 13. That's an easy win. The Ravens, Panthers, Jaguars, Broncos, Steelers, Browns, Falcons, Steelers, Bengals. Jeez.
Like, who did they lose to in that stretch? Like
Probably
the
one of the
Steelers.
divisions.
It's really
like the
just
Steelers
about
and the
if they're
Ravens.
in the playoffs the last week against the Bengals or not, and they're trying in that game.
I mean, they could also lose to the Steelers.
But they play them twice. They're not losing both.
But, like, I legit think they could lose under 2 games the rest of the year.
Yeah, if they lose, that would the
They
Ravens
sneaky are going to get into the playoffs and be like,
12-5.
2 or 3 seed.
yeah.
I can't believe it's 12-5 now.
I
not
know.
11-5.
Isn't that so
It sounds
gross?
So weird.
It's so gross.
So from passers to rushers,
Mhm.
we got Josh Jacobs over
Yeah.
76.5
Yeah.
rushing yards for this week.
Okay, so here's what it is. Denver defense, they're good, but they're secondary. That's the strength of their team, I feel like.
Yeah.
Last week, for some reason, the Titans couldn't get Derrick Henry going. But I do think that the Raiders are going to look at what they've done over the last couple of weeks and be like, we were winning all those games, and then we started losing again. Like, what did we stop doing?
Right.
We stopped feeding Josh Jacobs because he's been running mad. And I don't understand why they don't give this guy 25 carries a game.
I mean, when they were, he was running efficiently.
He was running all over the Colts. I mean, him and John Taylor basically had the same game minus John Taylor's like breakout, like big run.
Right.
So I think Jacobs, like, he looks good to me still. And when the Raiders have won, like, they've fed him. And I think that this week with McDaniel's job is on the line, frankly. I don't know how he did not get fired after losing to Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Jacobs had 3 consecutive weeks this season with over 20 carries. It was the only time this season. I mean, he had 21 against the Colts. So,
Pretty good.
But other than that, he had 3 times this season where he had over 20 carries.
Mhm.
He had 144, 154, and 143 yards.
Sounds like a recipe
That's
for
pretty
success
efficient.
for me.
So, and then in the games, he's had under 100 yards, 10 rushes, 57 yards, 13 carries, 66 yards, 17 carries, 67 yards. So it just seems like when they feed him the ball 20 plus times, he's running for 100 plus yards.
Yeah,
Let the man
I
eat.
agree.
So if they let him eat, it should be a pretty good day for Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, and 76.5 isn't that high of a number to me. And PFF has him at 82.2. So they actually see him, having a good week as well. I'm kind of with you. Like, I think his floor, they're going to give him like 20 touches like they did last week. Like,
yeah.
I think this is kind of around like, this is just like an average game for him, 20 touches for like 75 yards.
Right.
But like what we were just talking about, he gets 30 touches. He's going for 100 plus easy.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So from Josh Jacobs to another West Coast back, Austin Eckler.
Yeah, and so the thing about Eckler is I know that they love to use him as a receiving option, but he's still good at running the ball.
Right.
And isn't like Sony Michel their backup running back? Like,
yeah, and they don't utilize him that much.
Yeah, it's like Eckler is getting most of their touches at this point. And the way to beat Kansas City, it's by running the ball because that's how you keep Mahomes off the field.
Yeah, you got to kill time of possession.
Yeah, and like if I'm the Chargers, like you absolutely have to just run the ball with Eckler. And like 42.5 is so low.
Right. Like
I mean,
Eckler didn't hit it last week, but they were playing the 49ers defense. They're
Really good
top
run
5 defense in the
Yeah.
NFL. The week before he had 47 rushing yards on 15 carries against the Falcons. So
like
it's
that's easy.
Right. And he's hit this multiple times this season. So I really think this number is attainable for Eckler.
Yeah, and PFF has him at 54.2, so they've got just being a slight edge here.
Yeah, nice little
12
points.
12 yards.
So moving on to the receivers now. We mentioned this one earlier. We got Alan Lazard at over 48.5.
So here's the thing. Hear me out. I know everyone's going to want Watson here, and I love Christian Watson too, but he literally just broke out.
Right. Do you think he gets number 1 corner this week?
Potentially so.
Maybe. I don't know. But, like, I'm just more thinking about it in terms of, like, this kid finally popped after, like, missing out on a lot of chances. But Lazard's really been the number 1 target hog all year. Like, there's really
a hungry dog.
I know. There's a literal hungry dog.
Yeah.
But, Lazard's their true number 1 receiver. Like, people are going to make a big, thing about Watson, but he's like their deep threat.
Yeah.
Lazard's their guy that's getting like 6 to 10 targets a game.
Yeah.
And so this number is just really low. Like I've mentioned, Tennessee's pass defense, not very good. Their run defense, very good.
I'm thinking Tennessee this week also might play that too high safety umbrella coverage they gave Mahomes and just like make him take the checkdowns all game.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. And like Lazard, I think is kind of going to be his like check down this week.
And the running backs too will have, should have a good chunk of receiving yards.
Yeah.
From current Green Bay Packer to former,
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Adams, an under.
Yeah, a sneaky under. So here's the thing about Devontae. He had that really horrible game where Jeff Saturday freaked out tweeting about it because he's obviously on Jeff Saturday's fantasy team.
Right.
And
well,
then
was.
Obviously, he would never do something like that now.
No.
Obviously.
He's a
After that, Devontae's had 2 games where he's absolutely popped off.
Yeah.
2 high-scoring, high-yardage games. It's time to come back down to earth.
I mean, he is playing
The
top
Broncos.
5 passing defense in the NFL.
And more specifically, I think Pat Surtain is going to spend a lot of time on Devontae.
Yeah.
And last week, I watched the Colts just single coverage him with random corners, random linebackers, random bullshit all game.
Yeah.
And he was just running around, and it was so easy. Like, I got to think that the Broncos are going to do something better than that.
I think they're just going to put Pat Surtain in the whole game.
Yeah,
Like,
which
that's a
will
great
be
play.
better than that. Because the one time they did finally put Gilmore on him, he stopped him on the last play.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. Basically, 85.5 is a lot of yards. I'm really basically just betting on him not to have like a really good game.
So, yeah, you're just betting on him to be pedestrian.
Yeah, like I think he could go for like 5 for 70.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's still a solid game.
Yeah.
He's.
I just think it's
Right,
like coming
it's
back
not
down. to
like-
earth.
it's
not a Devontae.
I mean, I don't even know about 5 or 70. Like this year when Devontae's been bad,
He's been really bad.
He's been really bad.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but 85.5, it's not like I'm betting on him to like be horrible. Like, I just need him to like not go crazy. But I get what you're saying. When he doesn't go crazy, he does.
Well, I
literally
mean,
nothing.
the Raiders also lack other weapons right now that are healthy.
Yeah,
so it's
that
like,
is true. But that's
Derek
why I
Carr-
think they're gonna feed Jacobs.
yeah,
That's the
true.
truth. That's the answer.
That's true. We do like Josh Jacobs in this one.
Mhm.
So moving on to T. Higgins this week for over 67.5 yards.
Yeah, and so this one's kind of the opposite of Devontae.
I almost think T is going to outperform Devontae this week.
I
'Cause
absolutely
the
think so.
Steelers have like top or bottom 2 passing defense in the NFL.
Absolutely. And the reason I like it is like what you were just saying, the opposite of Devontae. He's had 2 games without Jamar where like people kind of thought he was going to step into a bigger role, and he's been pretty good, but nothing crazy.
He's just been the same.
And now they've got the bye, and now he's going to pop off.
Yeah.
And the number for him this week is pretty low, 67.5. Like that's not really that
So
crazy.
PFF even has him projected higher than Devontae too.
They actually,
Simple as
I
that.
think they have him as the number 2 receiver this week behind Jefferson.
Higgins?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But like, what does that really mean? Like they probably just assume he's.
I
Gonna
mean,
get,
they've been pretty
Yeah,
accurate with
yeah.
their player props.
He's been getting
Yeah.
a lot of targets, a lot of the yards, and I think he'll probably just pop off.
Well, I just think like I don't know, like without Jamar, like Tyler Boyd had a big game. Mixon had a big game. Like it's just time
Hayden
for.
Hurst is solid.
Higgins is having his big game.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to make it my hammer play, but like honestly, the only reason I didn't is because TJ Watt could just blow up the Bengals.
So
offense.
we'll make it a
Honorary.
half quick little hammer
yeah,
play.
just a little
A
hammer.
little bit of a hammer.
Yeah, a small hammer.
So that's the last receiver we've got.
Mhm.
Now
Did
2 hours.
you see that? Only 3?
Yeah,
Only 3?
it was big. I
Yeah.
mean, so what you guys may not know is we have discussed at length the absurd amount of receivers that get
Yeah.
picked on this betting show on
Yeah.
a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So to have 3 receivers, look, I hope they all hit because
Yeah.
if you go 1 for 2, you're going to be like, I needed 5 more.
I know. We went from 7 to 5 to 3.
Yeah. So we're making progress,
Yeah.
but we're going
Yeah.
from these receivers to our favorite pick.
Yeah.
It's Pickett to throw a pick.
Yeah, he actually didn't do it last week, which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, we're gonna run a little martingale on this.
Yeah, we should. But yeah, I do think he's gonna get back to his interception like ways.
Bengals have a pretty solid defense. I mean,
Rookies love throwing picks.
And they'll heat 'em up,
They
yeah.
love throwing picks because they don't like throwing it away. Yeah, that's all I've got. There's not really a lot of analysis on this.
As we move into the to score a touchdown picks, I just want to take a brief moment of silence for the Cooper Cup to score a touchdown for the next few weeks.
All right.
let's take a moment.
It might be a really long moment. It could be the whole year.
Yeah, let's take a long moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why they'd really bring him back. Like that play where he got hurt too was like exactly why you don't want John Wolford to start a game.
100%.
Like he hurt him
Yeah.
because of that, where that ball was.
And honestly, if you remember OBJ in the preseason at the beginning of last year with John Wolford playing quarterback, had an identical injury.
Really?
Like before the season started, he missed the last 2 games of the preseason, and then he missed week 1 of the regular season last year.
And it was because of
and
a
it was
similar
literally
play.
like almost identical play to what happened to Cooper Cupp, and it was just OBJ.
OBJ was on the Browns last year.
No, he was on the Rams.
Start of the year. He got traded.
He
He got released.
Pretty sure he was a Ram.
No, he was a Brown at the start of the year.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying hard to remember. Using all my brain cells.
I'm looking it up.
I think he was a Brown to start last year.
I believe he was a Brown.
And then he got
released.
I think / traded.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, yeah, I do remember this, but I thought that was 2 years ago.
No,
because
the saga
it's because I saw it
last
TikTok.
year.
So maybe I'm not
in the Super Bowl, so he couldn't
So
have played
maybe-
this preseason.
No, I'm talking about
Yeah, but he was
a
the
year
Browns
ago.
last
So
year.
I saw a TikTok of the
Must have
of
been
the
Baker.
play.
Must have been Baker.
Well, he was in a Rams uniform.
Well, he got hurt in the Super Bowl. So
Well, I know that play.
But,
All right, I'll find it.
Yeah.
We'll tweet it
Yeah.
out.
So let's get into the touchdown scores.
But yeah, I do think quarterbacks responsible for injuring players pretty often. Like sometimes you just see the ball come out and you're like, that's a hospital ball.
Terrible ball.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on to the TD scores, the first one's pretty easy. King Henry.
He's the king.
And yeah, he didn't score last week.
Tractorcito. It's Tractorcito season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, he didn't score last week. And the Titans, if they want to win games, they need to be in the Tractorcito business.
Absolutely.
Like I
couldn't agree more.
What Ryan Tannehill did last week, he will never do again.
Yeah.
And he didn't even play that good.
No, he did not play well.
He just had 2 passing touchdowns.
And honestly, Derrick Henry, I seriously think he is the most explosive player in the NFL. And
I don't know.
When they're inside the 10-yard line, it's almost like they go wildcat and just he plays quarterback and runs it in.
Yeah. No, I mean, Derrick Henry is a beast.
Yeah.
I really got nothing else to say.
Nothing else to say. I mean, let's move on to the next guy who's also just a beast in a different
Yeah,
way.
he is. This is probably the most untouchable player in fantasy football right now.
Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson.
I actually love this kid. I mean, the awareness of what he did on Monday night when he reached the ball over the goal line, I was like, this guy's got a nose for the end zone.
Yeah. And I think he's going to have a good, end of the season stretch where he might just keep getting in the end zone for this team.
Well, and guess who they're playing this week, Jimmy?
They're playing the god-awful Texans defense.
Yeah.
Yes. So that'll be fun.
I thought about doing a Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson little parlay action, but I was like, only one of these guys has the actual dog in them to get shot twice in the leg and come back within 5 weeks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And right on cue, an actual dog
he's got
starts
that
barking.
dog in him.
Oh, Bernie.
Yeah.
That dog has that dog in him.
He's confirming the Brian Robinson pick.
He likes the Brian Robinson.
He likes it a lot.
Aggressively.
He loves it.
Whoa.
He likes it aggressively.
All right.
Bernie.
Come here.
He's a hungry dog. He's just trying to run faster.
Well, all right.
Oh, he's trying to catch his tail.
So
Yeah, he's eating
here
his
we'll
tail.
be back with some picks in a brief minute. We're gonna let the hungry dog take care of his business.
It's pretty simple. He just heard some All right, we're back.
Break's over.
Yeah.
All right, so
now we got
we saw the Brian Robinson. Now let's move forward.
we've fed the hungry dog, and now the hungry dog is gonna get fed this Sunday.
Yeah, so Lamar has been a problem with me. I've bet on him to score a lot of times, and
How many times?
I think it was like 5.
Yeah.
And it just never happened.
But he's back.
But he's back. He's off a bye. He's
Life is
scoring.
fresh.
He's playing the Panthers.
Is it a super bye?
Yes, it's a super bye.
Super
He's
bye.
playing the Panthers. I think he's going to be revitalized. I think he's getting in the end zone.
So here's something I was also thinking about. How come teams, the rest versus rust doesn't come into play during the bye, but it comes into play during the postseason for the team?
Well, that's just one of the
Because
lights
those
of
teams are
brightness.
good.
Yeah.
It's like, why is the rest versus rust not relevant in the regular season, but it's relevant in the...
Because the lights are the brightest in the playoffs.
No, I agree.
I
but
get
it's
what you're
like-
saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like teams struggle with the bye in the playoffs. They don't struggle coming out of the bye in the regular season. Is it because they don't know who they're playing for the whole first week? Like,
Maybe.
can't be.
I mean, honestly, probably.
And then you just prepare for both.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, so Lamar.
I really don't know.
Lamar.
Yeah. So Lamar's getting in the end zone. Yeah.
Looks like
It's
we're
time for him
moving
to make
the,
a return trip.
The
new wide receiver
second
one.
scary selection of the day.
The new wide receiver one in LA.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson.
As we mentioned, Cup potentially murdered by John Wolford. Police are still
Moment of silence, Cooper Cup.
but Allen Robinson is here. And yes, he has been bad. Very bad.
But he's gonna have
But-
a huge finish.
I don't even know about that.
He'll have a meteoric finish.
He's just all they've got.
He really is.
Like we're talking, it's Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson, Ben Skoranek. Like I'm just making up names. Tyler Higbee. I mean, he was already getting a lot of volume in the red zone. Now I assume he has to get more volume everywhere. I think Stafford is playing. He should be
Stafford
playing.
should be playing.
There was just an update about that. Let me check.
Matthew Stafford should be playing.
I guess this is pending Stafford because
Robinson's the only receiver on the team.
Matthew
Yeah.
Stafford is a full participant.
and like in what are they doing in the red zone? Like they can't run the ball.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it's just a volume play here. Like I think he's gonna get like 5 red zone targets.
Yeah, absolutely.
If
So,
they spend that much time in the
Moving
red zone.
from the scary selection to the super gremlin TD parlay,
Yeah,
which
that's
is which is
Tony.
quite the name.
Yeah.
The
Kadarius
super
Toney is a
gremlin.
super gremlin.
It's because Kadarius Toney is a super gremlin.
Yes, absolutely.
Ever since I saw him get literally the entire New York skyline tattooed all over his entire back and then get traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, I have not been able to like stop laughing thinking about that. Like, how does he explain why he has that tattoo to people? Like, what's
How
that?
often do people see that?
Yeah, like-
tattoo?
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny to think about Kadarius Toney in Kansas City.
Absolutely.
But even more importantly, he scored his first touchdown last week.
Yeah, and he jumped
looked-
into the end zone.
It was
hopped.
that was a
He bunny
super
hopped.
gremlin play.
He hopped into. The
I've literally never seen someone do that. I
Yeah.
thought he was injured.
I thought.
Like,
I
I actually thought he was
too.
injured.
I thought he was,
And then
too.
he like just kept doing it, and I was like, "Oh, he's just having fun."
Well, I think it was so he didn't step out of bounds with his other foot.
And then he just kept on having fun.
Yeah, I guess. And yeah, but Josh Palmer, kind of a weird pick, but they don't have any receivers.
No.
He hasn't
Someone
scored
who
yet.
gremlin himself.
Yeah, he hasn't scored yet.
And Keenan Allen and Williams are both not supposed to play again.
Yeah.
Questionable.
So
I don't think either of them participated in practice.
yeah, if those guys do play, then we could switch to Eckler. But I like Josh Palmer. Like, he hasn't scored at all. And
No.
I think he's been getting, 10-ish targets the last 2 games. The Chiefs defense isn't very good. It's a super gremlin TD parlay right here.
Yeah,
I mean, the
super
odds on
gremlin.
this are going to be insane when the lines come out.
Yeah,
Like, this is a wild bet.
100%.
it is. It really is. I
But
can't wait to
it's-
see what the odds
It
are.
could actually hit. Like, both of these guys are like going to be used in the offense
Right.
pretty much a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
100%.
well, like we said, Juju is probably not going to play. That was really bad.
Yeah.
It did
You
not.
hate to see stuff.
It was like I look like 2 out there.
Yeah.
What is that called? I've never seen that before this season, but
I'm
I
not
realize
sure.
that it's like a real
It's a
medical
thing,
term.
yeah.
Like sometimes when you get a concussion, like your hands like
It's
seize up.
tense Yeah. I'm not sure what it's called, but yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
I also haven't seen it before this year. Is it because they're using the new helmets?
I don't think so. I think with Tua, they were saying it's
just a
because
freak accident.
He's so small.
no. It's because when you have a concussion and then a second concussion in like a really short time span, it can like compound the effects.
Yeah.
There's also some name for
Well,
it. but I
Juju
don't
only
know.
had one.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of confused. I was like, he shouldn't be having these symptoms, but
Right.
also
Well, maybe
I have
that's
very rudimentary medical
or
knowledge.
maybe the Tua actually was cleared.
I don't think that he was actually cleared. Well, have you read about like what happened in that situation?
No.
Basically, Tua was like, my back really hurts after that happened, and like he like didn't mention anything about his head to the doctors, like on the sideline. So they were just like, oh, it's not a head injury, it's just a back injury, and his back's fine. Like that's literally what their thought process was.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like that's why it's so hard with players. Like Tua literally
They
was just
want to
like,
play.
yeah, he was just like, I want to get back in the game.
Right.
I didn't hurt my head; it was just my back.
It was
My back.
I mean, Tua's hilarious. Did you see that clip of him when him and McDaniel were talking about?
He wants the touchdown play.
Yeah, and he was like, basically, Tua was like, yeah, like whatever you want to do, coach. Like, what side should we run it from? I trust you. And then McDaniel was like, the left. And then they run it into touchdown. No thought, no thinking being done from Tua at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Just do it.
we trust Tua though.
Oh yeah,
I
Tua
think-
on. Are you a member of Tua on?
He is on
Absolutely.
my fantasy team.
Absolutely. You do not want to be on the other side.
No, there's a very long list of Tua haters, and they're all going down sometime soon.
Yes, 1,000%.
Tua's a legend.
He is. We'll see what happens. No name that Hall of Famer this week.
Yeah.
Taking a break.
We ran out of
Hall of Famers.
Yeah, there are only a limited number of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, that was a tricky part about that segment.
Happens. We'll figure something out next week.
Yeah, we will. But as far as this week goes, that's all we've got for you.
Yeah.
We'll see you boys later.
Peace.
Smell you.